Let me take you back to a time I was staring at my bank account again. It was the end of the month. My paycheck was already gone. Credit cards maxed out, rent was due, and I had no idea how I would survive another week. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't irresponsible. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And here's the truth. Money isn't just about numbers. It's about mindset. Today, I'm going to tell you the 5 mindset shifts that took me from completely broke to financially free. This isn't theory. This is what actually changed my life. And if you're struggling, if you feel stuck, if you're tired of just surviving, this could be the turning point for you. Let's begin. Mindset shift 1. I'm not a victim, I'm in control. Back then, every time I looked at my situation, I blamed someone else. My job didn't pay enough. The government didn't care. My parents didn't teach me about money. The economy was unfair. I had a reason for everything, and maybe those reasons were valid, but they didn't help. They kept me stuck. One day, I read something that hit me like a punch in the gut. You can't control where you start, but you are responsible for where you go. That sentence changed my life. I realized that as long as I believed I was a victim, I gave away my power. And the day I decided to take responsibility, even for the things that weren't my fault, was the day everything started to change. From that day, I started acting like a person in control. I tracked every dollar. I started learning. I started asking questions. I stopped waiting to be rescued. And most importantly, I stopped complaining. Once I believed I could change my situation, my behavior followed. So the first mindset shift is this. Stop seeing yourself as a victim. Start seeing yourself as the driver. That's when you take the wheel of your financial life. Mindset shift 2. I can learn anything, even money. Here's a tough truth. Most of us are taught more about algebra than how to manage a bank account. I used to say, I'm just not good with money. That was my excuse. But let me ask you, were you born knowing how to drive? Were you born knowing how to cook? Of course not. Money is a skill, not a talent, and skills can be learned. Once I realized that, I stopped feeling ashamed. I stopped saying, I don't know. Instead, I said, I'm learning. I read one personal finance book a month. I watched videos. I listened to podcasts. I followed people who had the results I wanted. And slowly, what was once overwhelming became familiar. Here's the key. Don't try to know everything. Just learn one thing at a time. First, I learned budgeting. Then I learned saving. Then I understood debt. Then I studied investing. It's like building a house, brick by brick. The moment I stopped believing that I was bad with money and started believing that I could learn anything, my life changed. If you can learn to drive, you can learn to manage money. If you can learn TikTok dances, you can learn compound interest. So make this shift. From I'm not good with money to I'm learning to be great with money. Mindset shift. 3. Money is a tool, not the goal. There was a time when I believed that money itself would make me happy. I thought once I had more money, I'd feel secure. Once I had more money, I'd be proud of myself. Once I had more money, I'd feel successful. But here's what I learned. Money is not the goal. Money is the tool that helps you build the life you actually want. When I was broke, I would fantasize about becoming rich. I thought being rich meant fancy cars, big houses, designer clothes. But the truth is, being financially free is about choices. It's about being able to say, no, I don't want to work for that company. Yes, I want to travel this year. No, I won't stay in this toxic relationship because I can't afford to leave. Yes, I'll take a break to focus on my mental health. Money gives you power. power to choose, power to breathe, power to live intentionally. Once I started seeing money as a tool, not a trophy, I started using it wisely. I stopped trying to impress others. I started investing in my peace. This shift saved me thousands. So here's the shift. Don't chase money. Chase freedom. Use money to get there. Mindset shift 4. Discipline is freedom. I used to think budgeting was restrictive. Saving felt like punishment. Tracking expenses. Boring. I didn't want to feel like a robot. But then I realized something shocking. The more disciplined I became with my money, the freer I felt. When I had no budget, I was constantly anxious. I didn't know if I could afford things. I felt guilty when I spent. I was always reacting. But when I got disciplined, created a budget, set saving goals, planned my spending, I felt peace because I was in control. Imagine this. You want to travel next year. Instead of waiting and hoping, you create a plan. You save $100 a month. By the end of the year, you've got $200. You book the ticket, guilt-free, stress-free. That's what discipline gives you. Discipline is not about restriction. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. So the shift is this. Don't fear discipline. Embrace it, because discipline in freedom. Mindset shift 5. I deserve abundance. Now this was the hardest shift for me, because deep down, I didn't feel like I deserved wealth. I thought being rich was for other people. I thought being broke was just my story. I would sabotage myself, spend recklessly after a good month, avoid opportunities, stay small, because a part of me believed. I'm not the kind of person who gets rich. But let me tell you something. We attract what we believe we deserve. So I started reprogramming my beliefs. I wrote affirmations. I said them out loud every day. I deserve wealth. I create value and receive abundance. I am capable. I am smart. I am worthy. It felt silly at first, but over time, I started to believe it. And when I believed I was worthy, I started charging what I was worth. I started asking better questions. I started seeing opportunities I used to ignore. Abundance doesn't just come from hard work, it comes from self-worth. So the final shift is this. Believe you deserve abundance. Not later. Now. You are not meant to struggle forever. You are not meant to be stuck. You are not meant to survive paycheck to paycheck. You are meant to thrive. Conclusion. Let me say them again. 5 mindset shifts that changed everything. I'm not a victim. I'm in control. I can learn anything, even money. Money is a tool, not the goal. Discipline is freedom. I deserve abundance. If you're broke right now, I get it. I've been there. But you don't have to stay there. Your circumstances are temporary. Your mindset is everything. Change your thoughts, and you'll change your habits. Change your habits, and you'll change your life. You don't need a 6-figure salary to start. You need a 6-figure mindset. You've got this.